This is Tuesday, June 26th. There are 28 days until San Diego Comic-Con 2024. Welcome to SDConCast, the official podcast of the San Diego Comic-Con unofficial blog. It's not working right.
No.
We all know what it sounds like, though.
Act like there's music there.
Yeah.
Everyone's like,
this is how lo-fi we are.
I love it. It's fantastic music.
plug it in every single week, and one week it doesn't work.
If you can send me this, I'm going to play it in the morning.
Love technology. Hello, everybody. I'm your host, James Riley, and joining me on the podcast, as always, Carrie Dixon.
Hey, guys. Thanks so much for joining us.
Also joining us from the blog, Aaron Toucan.
Hi, everybody.
And our special guest this evening is Ryan Coan, CEO and founder of Creative Riff.
Hi, everybody. Very nice to meet you.
All right. So welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Exactly 4 weeks until preview night.
Oh, stop saying that.
We'll take your comments and questions during the show. You can tweet us at SD_comic_con or use the hashtag SDConCast. We'll also be keeping an eye on the YouTube live chat if you wish to comment or ask a question there. First up, let's talk to Ryan. And Carrie, why don't you get us started?
So before we get too far into this, Ryan, why don't you just tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and Creative Riff and kind of like what it is that you do at the convention?
Sure. So I actually grew up in South Jersey during the Kevin Smith era. Mallrats was my favorite movie. And when I got into events and learned about Comic-Con, I saw this really unique opportunity to build worlds and allow people to step in to the fantasies, the content that they love. I was blown away by the fact that studios and networks would spend all this money to bring that dream to life and allow people to actually step into the story. And I wanted to be a part of that. And San Diego Comic-Con was the ultimate playground to create that for reasons that I'm sure we'll get into. But I had worked at a company called Van Wagner before starting Creative Riff. And my unique selling proposition that I wanted to create was being experts at activating at San Diego Comic-Con, trying to create a better solution for studios and networks to find space at the show, trying to find ways to create better lines of communication with Comic-Con, which we can get into. All of our events are sanctioned, so we can get into how that works too. We do nothing unofficially or anything that is not condoned by Comic-Con, which we believe heavily in. But what we do is we create the on-site experiential marketing events, brand experiences, brand immersions that you see outside the convention center, and then also work with the convention center in San Diego Comic-Con to build booths on the inside, like we did for Disney Plus a couple years back.
So before we get into the next thing, I'm actually very curious. When was the first time you went to Comic-Con? Because you just talked about going there and being so
the first time I went to Comic-Con was in 2010, and I was working again for, like I said, for another group, and I'm a TV and movie junkie, and I flew out to LA and met all these awesome people at studios and networks. And when I asked them where they were spending their budgets and creating their largest experiences, everyone had the same answer: San Diego Comic-Con. So I went out there to check it out for myself, and like I said, was just blown away by the pop-up amusement world that was created of fantasy that people were able to step into, and just really wanted to be a part of it.
Absolutely. So Creative Riff has created some of our favorite activations over the last years, including you guys do the FX Offsite every year. You did Abbott Elementary a couple years ago, the Fox Fanfare, Disney Plus. You also worked with NBC at Comic-Con Special Edition. But how did you get involved in like your first Comic-Con offsite?
So the way that I got involved was I found there was a interesting answer when I met with the studios and networks. They said, we love Comic-Con, but it is very hard to get things done there. And they said Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con can be challenging to work with. And when I say the studios and networks, I mean specifically for activations. The studios and networks have wonderful relationships with ComiCon, obviously with the panels and everything that's produced at the show, but activations seem to be this challenging area for studios and networks to break into. And a lot of it had to do with just finding the right space at the show, less to do with ComiCon themselves. But I flew to San Diego after listening to this and figured there must be some type of solution. And the people at ComiCon were wonderful to me. They agreed to get dinner. They agreed to talk through what the challenges I was hearing from studios and networks were. And I'm probably going to get some heat for this, but what I discovered was it was really the agencies. It wasn't ComiCon, it wasn't the studios and networks. It was the transfer of information between ComiCon, the studios and networks, and the agency, right? And I found, and listen, there's some fantastic agencies that do wonderful things at ComiCon, and friends of mine as well. But I didn't necessarily find an agency that was focusing on solving how to create the best service for studios and networks and for ComiCon, because ComiCon, their number one goal is to put on the best fan experience. That's all they're looking for out of the partnerships with these activations. And the studios and networks want to put on the best fan experience, right? So I was like, there must be something missing here. And when I got to know ComiCon and the studios and networks, I said to them, I said, listen, I said, I want to bridge the gap between the two parties. I want to fit into your schedules. I want to figure out how to deliver things in a buttoned up way that really works for your organization and allows us to help drive your business forward and create the ultimate fan experience. If I can do that, will you give me your attention regularly in order to deliver for both sides? And I had yes for both sides. And I put all my energy into ComiCon. And that's when I started finding locations at ComiCon and studios and networks, because at that time I didn't have a creative team, I didn't have anything. They were coming with some ideas and saying, this is something we'd love to do at the show. Can you help us elaborate on it? And can you help us find a really good spot to do it at? And I'd go to ComiCon, I'd find the space and would work with ComiCon to make sure that what we were doing fit into the DNA of ComiCon, right? And I could keep going about this, but that is what I would say myself and my team really perfected in order to differentiate ourselves in the marketplace. Because at the time I was meeting people and I was like, I'm just dying to work on the X-Files with Fox or whatever it might be at the time. And they were like, listen, we'd love to work with you. You guys do great production work, but we really need you to have the right idea, right? It comes down to the idea and how you're going to execute something. But if you can give us a competitive edge in the space of ComiCon and set us up for success, that's very interesting to us. And that's when we started slowly but surely working with them and increasing the footprint over time till I think the most we've had is 6 or 7 activations simultaneously, 4 of which probably some of, if not the largest at the show. So, like I said, really focused on ComiCon and then have built the business outside of that as well, just through doing great work at ComiCon and extending to the rest of the year.
So earlier you mentioned that when you asked them the question about where their budget and stuff, they said, well, ComiCon is where we spend a lot of our time and effort. What is it about ComiCon and the attendees there that make the studios want to do that?
Yeah, so it's a great question. I think it's a couple things. One, I think that San Diego is the perfect backdrop to pop up this world for fans, right? I think that the city of San Diego is a wonderful group to work with. The port is a wonderful group to work with. The hotels are wonderful teams to work with. Everyone is very eager to create the best environment for fandom, right? And then I would say that ComiCon itself, what the group at San Diego ComicCon has achieved is pretty incredible in the sense that it's not one brand, right? It's not only this one brand's thing and it's all the titles under that brand. It is open to everyone, and it is the biggest brands and it is the smaller brands and the cult followings, and it all comes together in such a beautiful way that's so pure that it creates the best location and experience for fans to promote things, right? So like, where would you take your biggest titles of the year if you want to take them directly to the people that love them, that are going to shout to the moon about them and share them with the world? You do that at San Diego ComicCon, right? So that is really what I think attracts them the most. And looking at what happens inside the convention center, like I said, grew up in South Jersey, and moving around a little bit, comic book stores were my church, right? Like that's where I went to hang out. That's where I met my friends. That's where I networked. And I believe San Diego Comic-Con inside the convention center is the world's greatest comic book store, right? All the exhibitors, all the big booths, all the conversations happening, collectibles being collected and traded, and panelists going up there and sharing what's to come with this vibrant community that's so excited, right? And the most friendly environment imaginable, right? Like we do stuff at, different events too. And I can tell you that how pure the audience is at Comic-Con, and how friendly they are and accepting. It's just a really special thing, right? So I think when you take all that, and it's hundreds of thousands of people with beautiful weather, at the real Comic-Con, right? The inventors and curators of this entire world, I think that creates the ultimate opportunity for studios and networks to get on stage and make their biggest announcements of the year and create experiences that let people step into that world. And I think that's, again, like you have people waiting in line for multiple hours to engage with an advertisement, right? And it's one of their fantasies to engage with it that you're solving for, right? So there's just so much good that comes out of it, an opportunity. Like it's a win-win across the board for everyone, from attendees to the sponsors, to the city of San Diego, right? And the jobs it creates, and the revenue that it establishes for the city at that time. So I hope that answered the question, but I would say for all those reasons and more, it's a very special thing, and it's great to see how much studios and networks celebrate the culture with this community and support this community at San Diego Comic-Con.
You mentioned that you work that closely with Comic-Con International during the planning process, and you kind of liaison between them and the agencies. How big of a part do they play in these decisions? Like how much do you have to work with them, or do they have the final say in whatever you do?
Well, if something is Comic-Con official, so if it's sponsored, if you're an official sponsor of Comic-Con and you have the right to use their marks, then Comic-Con approves what the proposal is for what will happen at the show. Because at the end of the day, everything that touches Comic-Con is a piece of their product, right? So, and that's part of what I think makes it so special, is that they're that involved in the things that are happening at their show, right? There's not something that doesn't necessarily fit or potentially inappropriate that's popping up outside the convention center and becomes kind of an eyesore or takes away from the experience that's being created. So they're extremely involved.
So take us through the planning process that you typically have with your team. Do the brands and the studios come to you with fully fleshed out ideas? Do they just have a goal? Do they just have a budget? What part of the whole project is up to your team to create?
Yeah, so I would say that it can work a lot of different ways, right? It depends on the brand, the studio. It depends on the property, what the goal and objective might be, already a concept that has come together internally, right? And then we help facilitate that, execute that, and build off that. I would say for Comic-Con specifically, because a lot of the studios and networks that we're working with, you'll see us work with year over year over year. We work with them for months at a time, and these activations are extensions of the creative that they're creating on their end at the studios and networks to push the product forward across the country, across the world, right? So we are taking creative that is being established on the brand side, and we are helping bring it to life. But the brands themselves are very involved in what you experience at the show because it is their product, right? It is an extension of the content and the worlds they're creating. And then we have, at Creative Riff in general, we have full service creative team, strategy, production, accounts. We can do everything A to Z, but I would say that at San Diego Comic-Con, especially with the larger activations and legacy clients that we work with, a lot of the creative is in partnership, but really comes from the studio and network marketing teams that really are phenomenal partners and creative geniuses themselves, and help really deliver information to us in a way that we can work together to create these amazing experiences.
How early do you actually have to start planning these things to get them done in time?
It's all dependent upon the project. I mean, if it's something that we're doing year over year, we'll start months ahead of time, like months and months ahead of time. I can't share exactly the amount of time for each individual project, but I can tell you that like sometimes there's never enough time, but but we do have the luxury, and that's part of what we did with our partners at Creative Riff is we look at ComiCon as an annual event, right? So we look at these opportunities to promote to this audience as an annual opportunity, and we work with those partners months ahead of time to figure out what's coming, and then how we're going to bring it to life and keep things on the right timeline. So, I would say new partners can be more of a challenge just because it's not as established and we don't have the freedom to say, okay, when are we starting to plan for next year after we finish this year, right? But we have a fair amount of time to go through the process.
Well, we were talking about this a little bit before the show, but you guys did the Disney Plus Bundleworks offsite at Comic-Con a couple years back. And one of the things that I actually really loved about that is we love when anything new happens. And the Fox Sports Lounge obviously sat there for several years not being used. So to see it being used as an offsite was like so exciting. And I'd just love to know a little bit about like how much outside the box like thinking do you have to do in a normal year as opposed to just trying to be in your normal groove? And I also just want to know what made you guys think like that would be a great space.
So air conditioning is huge. But what
I agree.
Yeah, really fantastic, and it's a beautiful space inside. What I would say in response to that is I think that it was surprising to us that it hadn't been utilized for years after it got renovated, right? And keep in mind, like it was recently renovated, so the Fox Sports Grill wasn't used, but the new space was newer. Yeah. But with that being said, it is more expensive. So a couple things. One, it's more expensive to build something outdoor from scratch necessarily if it's an indoor space, right? Two, so there's a lot of infrastructure there that we can play with, which is awesome. And two, it's location, right? Like the number one thing that we are looking for when we look for space is convenience to the convention center, because we want fans to be able to see everything, right? So we want to be right where they're organically traveling through, right? We want to be close to where they need to be for the panel that they can't wait to see, and they still have time to come check something out, right? So the Hilton Bayfront, as you know, and maybe most of the listeners know, but it is smack dab right behind the convention center along the water. The Fox Sports Grill, where Bundleworks was, is a part of it's a part of the building of the Hilton Bayfront and is maybe 50 feet from the lawn where FX activates, which is literally right behind the convention center. So it was just such an ideal location. And then the other thing to add to that, with our great partners at Disney, is we had a really great strategic conversation about, well, we have ABC, we have Disney, we have FX. These are part of the same family. A lot of these titles and properties can be seen on the same services. So there was also an opportunity to put the Disney family of properties together, which was a great selling point with our partners to say, hey, here's a really unique location that for us trying to promote a subscription service, which is different, right? It's totally different. We're not just focusing on a title, we're focusing on a way to watch content from a content provider. That made a lot of sense for those reasons. But I'm so glad that you enjoyed it.
Yeah, we did. And like I said, anytime anything like different or new or surprising like happens, like we always get so excited.
What did you like the most about it, to put you on the spot?
Besides the air conditioning.
Besides the air conditioning.
Besides the air conditioning. I don't know. I mean, it was just like a fun, quick little stop. And people just looked like they were having fun.
So you said what I was hoping you would say. So that was an opportunity to create really good throughput, get a lot of people through, because I think one of the other things that we think about with one of the many things is we want to get people through an experience, right? So we can get more people through it. So you have to kind of figure out how do you create enough immersion or the right amount of immersion, or give people options to engage with some things that take less time, but have the option to stand in line and wait for the thing that they really want to see that maybe less people will get the chance to go through, right? But Bundleworks specifically, because we're educating them on this subscription service, it was a really cool way to let people play these games, step into that world, win some really fun prizes. Yes, cool off from the hot sun in incredibly beautiful air conditioning, and have a lot of fun doing it. So that was the goal and objective in leaning into that experience. So I'm glad that that translated well over to your experience.
So mentioning the getting people through, FX always has a line. It's very popular, but the line does move quickly. How do you plan for just knowing you're going to get a lot of people, you're going to have lines? How do you handle those lines and make sure that you're getting people through in a manner that, you know, no one's getting too upset about it? But, you know, because we know we're going to be waiting in lines when we go to Comic-Con. It's like, we know it's going to happen. But how do you deal with managing all of that?
Yeah, so great question. It really comes down to planning what to do in a space. We take into consideration that lines are going to happen, right? And based on that, we have to literally think about how many people we can get through something, and if it makes sense to do it based on that, right? And what we're ultimately trying to do is not create too long of a line, where we can make that impact with enough attendees where it makes sense to bring that to life on site. What we also like to do is program the space with a lot of things that are fast as well. And part of that, brand storytelling and immersion. So people that don't want to wait in that line can jump over here or run to this really quickly. Also, things happening around people in lines create some inline entertainment. So it keeps them engaged. Maybe it's content playing on a screen and that screen is properly positioned based on where some of these lines are forming. But the most straightforward answer is what I originally said, which is getting everything down to the right amount of timing to understand how many people are going through per hour, to make sure that we're not going to be looking at Twitter and seeing, I've been standing in this line all day and I can't believe it, right? So we do that by pre-planning, and then we even do that on site by just running through the experiences once they're up and working with our incredible teams on the ground to engage with attendees, keep them entertained, and keep lines moving. But love hearing that. That's another huge objective for us, and it's great to hear that it's working.
I think with FX, it really works. That one there's so much to do inside there and so much to look at. And go ahead.
No, sorry, you go ahead.
I was just going to ask you, when you're dealing with an activation that big with so many different properties, how do you make sure that each property stands out and has its moment to shine while still having a cohesive overall feel?
Yeah, so this is something we work really closely with FX on, because they really understand their brand and how their audience likes to be engaged with. So they work with us to put that filter through every experience that's created, so it feels like an authentic FX branded experience, which makes it feel cohesive to the rest of the space. So that is, that is something that I give a lot of credit to our marketing partners over at FX and everyone over at FX, because they're really instrumental in helping us understand how to engage that audience to have that feeling that this is something only FX could do, or this is something that feels on brand for FX, while engaging with a title that is brand new, right? That maybe not even the season has started yet, or that you're just getting to know, right? But that you're interested in sampling because you trust that brand and you're a fan of what that brand's all about. So working very closely with them, and just had a lot of fun and a lot of great success thanks to this incredible partnership that we've had with them for, I think, 12 years now, since my last agency to now.
Very nice. Very nice. one of my favorite things about the FX activations is the live performers. I just feel like that adds so much. So like the living dolls from I think 2 years ago, or last year the samurai battles, or I think 2 years ago you guys had like scare actors kind of like dressed as the bushes, and
Yeah.
I just think that that adds so much. But what do you think live performance adds to that kind of experience?
So that was the Garden of Unearthly Delights. That was the maze that we did. And funny thing about the Bushmen actors on stilts, we opened and people were going through it, and I saw the first two guys jump out to scare somebody, and I thought that the bushes were collapsing, and my heart stopped. And then I saw people smile and scream and have the time of their life. So it's probably the most scared I've ever been at the activation, because I thought something was going wrong that was going incredibly right, and tricked me. It was so good. But with that being said, I think that this is interesting because it also thinks of trends that we're seeing out there. I think that actors are great if they fit into the story that you're trying to tell. When actors are forced or there just to act, I think that the experience can feel lacking, or it doesn't really connect to the goal of creating that right narrative. So when you see actors in our space, I would say that they're there because the idea came first, and actors became a way to bring that to life. And I think in those instances, they're really crucial, right? Because I think that they really add an element of storytelling for those specific ideas that would not be the same if they were not involved. But I do think that there's a lot of other ways to tell stories, to immerse people into worlds, than the actors themselves. And there are times where there's ideas that we come up with that actors just don't make sense, right? Or like, not to point negatively at anything that I've experienced, but I've been to experiences where there was an actor, and based on what the experience was, it's felt kind of like out of place or forced. So actors are great. I think in general, when it comes to trends, I think that world building is something that is here to stay. I think that technology is great if it makes sense, right? Like tech's awesome, but it has to make sense. It can't just be because it's the newest gaming console and you want to see what it's like. It really has to deliver for the fans' experience. But I think that what's exciting is the effects that we can create, and how we immerse people into those worlds will continue to change with technology. But I think that the human element of it, the actors, the effects that we can use that are more traditional, is something that we have a lot of fun playing with.
Well, I do love your FX activations. I try to go every single year, but one that I was even more impressed with, or that has stuck with me since, was your Abbott Elementary activation in 2022. And I know that that one was a finalist for Best Outdoor Activation from the X Awards, a silver finalist. It did such a great job of not only bringing to life the show and the feelings that you get from when you're watching the show, but it also had an element of giving back to teachers. And I was wondering if you could speak to that particular element and how it came about, and also how you were able to balance the entertainment with also that need to give back.
Yeah, thank you. Love that experience as well. I mean, the show has been a pop culture phenomenon from day one. So it was really exciting to partner with ABC to develop the experience, and bring guests into the world. I think that there wasn't a better opportunity when you asked about actors and like how integral are they to an experience. I think for something like Abbott Elementary, allowing fans to step into that school and be onboarded as potential substitute teachers, right? Like, and engage with actors in character from that world. That was something that was really special. The Easter eggs that we placed throughout that experience. What was really unique about that was you could be a super fan and you could walk in there, and there was so much surprise and delight that you could discover from going in the lockers or going to the classrooms, but you also could have never seen the show. And the experience immersed you in a way that had comedy and surprises, and getting to, your final question, a give back moment, right? And performances. So that is a really great example of where we get this really cool opportunity to create an experience that is for both the super fans and the potential people that we want to become new fans and novices, and maybe even someone that came to the activation to experience just the activation because they heard about how unique the experiences was stepping into that world, right? Of being a substitute teacher at this crazy school. But, another really special part about it with the give back, and maybe you're not aware of this, but ABC has really prioritized every opportunity to do good with this show and to give back to educators and to schools in undeserved communities. So while we were developing the experience, it was super important to them to organically incorporate those moments where they could write letters to teachers, Scholastic, there was the donation element, and it was totally just the best feel-good moment, right? Because we were able to kind of connect those dots to giving back, raising awareness for teachers, feeding the super fans the ultimate fan meal, right? And then getting people that had never seen the show or just heard about the show really excited about it by stepping into that world. So yeah, that was a very fond memory and one that definitely stands out.
You also mentioned that you worked inside the convention center on the Disney Plus booth. How does creating something inside the convention center and the confines of the convention center and the rules and the regulations there differ to an on-site?
Sure.
Or
So,
excuse me, an off-site.
yeah, an offsite. So the convention center is a very magical place, which I referred to earlier as the greatest comic book store in the world. But it also has a lot less space to work with. And when you have a lot less space, line queues create a challenge, right? So we need to be really thoughtful about how we approach creating these experiences and that throughput that we talked about. And I'm still immersing people into these worlds, but getting them through it because there's only so much places to stand before people need to keep moving. I would say that's probably the biggest difference. At the end of the day, the goal is very similar. We want to get people excited about what's to come, what they love, create moments that they can't stop talking about. And if they're based on what we're handing out digitally or physically, give them a piece of the dream so they have a piece of that memory to take home with them, right? Like the connection to collectibles is so interesting, right? Like we just moved, so the only thing I can probably show you right now is my Back to the Future VHS from my unopened mint VHS collection that I am slowly building. But I still have 3,000 comics in my garage that will decorate my office at some point to an extent. But that is one of the other, special things at the booth and the outdoor experience as well, not to just move topics, but the takeaway, right? Giving someone a premium item, giving them something that reminds them of this experience, makes it unforgettable, something they can take home and talk about. Sometimes I hate when I see them on eBay later, being sold for obscene amounts of money for some reason. But regardless, I think that inside is similar to the outside in the goal and objective, but from a logistic standpoint and an approach standpoint, obviously very different because the amount of space you have to work with and just trying to fit everything into that booth environment, which is very different. But there's been a lot of really great booth moments. I'm forgetting what year it was, and it wasn't us, but AMC did the Walking Dead when Negan came back, and the worst scene ever in Walking Dead history when everyone meets Negan's bat from the OG cast.
Mm-hmm.
But they brought the cast in. Those are some of my favorite moments, like when they bring the cast before or after a panel over to the booth and create a moment for fans with this really cool backdrop that shows the actors stepping into the world of the show, which these fans can also step into and take pictures and, reenact some of their favorite moments or moments that are yet to come.
You actually mentioned it just a minute ago about the physical items, the swag that people can get at the booth or at offsites. How do you feel about that, giving someone something that they can walk away with versus something digital, like, we took a picture of you, or you can get a selfie or something?
Yeah, I think it's the same. Go ahead. Sorry.
Just, talk about how that trend has been shifting to more digital, but is it shifting back, or is it still, are people still fighting for the physical? And how important do you think it is? That's the main part of it, I think, of the question.
I think it's similar to the answer before about actors. It's all about creating the right experience. So that can be digital or that can be physical. It just needs to be crafted in a way that speaks to the fan and is something that they really are excited to collect, right? Or excited to share. I do think, just speaking openly about the industry, I do think that, at times photo marketing got lazy, right? And like the branded takeaway was just kind of meh, right? So I think that really falls on us from a responsibility standpoint, and our clients who take it so seriously to want to create something of value for these fans. I personally love the physical, but I also love some of the digital technology that's out there that can create a really cool moment that people can share. And then, there's also something to be said about the digital of all the people that can't make it to Comic-Con, right? Which is a great service that you guys are doing right now, even, right? Where the digital of it that allows people to see what's happening at the show, and share with the other fan communities and make them feel like they're a part of it from afar, right? So that part, I actually appreciate the digital part as well for that reason.
And there can also be a good balance can be had between the two as well. I know for Abbott at the beginning during the queuing process, there was actually the digital the bus was there and they did a photo and they would email it to you in addition to the water bottles that I use every single day. Still, yes, yep, every day.
I love
still
that.
And the duffel bags. So both of them can be used simultaneously in the same activation, even for different purposes, and they both work well.
Yeah, totally agree.
So since we've been talking about swag and physical items, I actually wanted to talk a little bit about, I think you guys helped with NBC's La Brea offsite at Special Edition, right? And like, I'm not even kidding. I actually didn't even go. James did. But like the only thing I saw on social media was how much everybody loved that and like how much they loved getting the items there. Can you just talk a little bit about that activation and kind of how that came about?
Yeah, so that was excuse me, that was a really fun challenge when you are a world building company, when a client comes to you and says, so we have this show where essentially people fall through a sinkhole and they fall into an alternate universe, and we want you to figure out how to have attendees at Comic-Con fall through that sinkhole and enter that world in the gas lamp area right in front of the convention center. So essentially that's exactly what we were able to do, which, when we talk about throughput, that is a scenario where you can really create this like rich, immense world that has all these different Easter eggs and moments happening, which is also, I would liken it to like a Jurassic Park, right? Like, doesn't matter if you're not a fan of Jurassic Park or know about Jurassic Park. It's dinosaurs, it's tropical, there's smoke, there's flipped cars, there's carnage, there's things happening, there's all these jump moments. And creating the world of La Brea was really cool for that reason, right? Because it's something that every fan, anybody can appreciate if you're excited about the show, or if you just are really excited to step into this like a insane upside down universe that kind of looks like ours, but isn't ours, but maybe there's dinosaurs and maybe there's also other remains of things around that are throwing you off guard that you can explore and learn about the show. So yeah, that was a super fun one. And I thought Special Edition was great. I don't know. You said James attended, but I thought it was really cool to see the fans come together at that show, and it seemed like people had a great time.
Yeah,
I bet the weather was significantly cooler as well.
The weather was nice. My mom, yeah, it was actually, that was the first time my mom was in San Diego and got to see what I do, because she has a terribly hard time explaining it to her friends. But she was there to physically see Comic-Con, and she was the one dropping me off at the comic book stores when I was younger. So it was a nice full circle moment for both of us.
Fun. I love that. Well, to shift gears a little bit, you've also done some work with the Comic-Con museum, right?
Yeah.
Can you speak a little bit to that and what you've worked on with them?
Yeah, so that was an exciting opportunity to work with Gene Roddenberry's organization and create this Star Trek exhibit that really spoke to the timeline of Gene's career and all the different pieces, and was one of, I believe, one of the first exhibits at the museum. So we were able to work with ComiCon, work with the museum, work with Gene's group, and bring that to life, and had a lot of fun doing it.
Very fun.
Have you spoke just a moment ago about trends and the trends with swag and with digital stuff. What are some of the trends that you guys have seen kind of come and go regarding activations over the years?
Yeah, I think I don't know what I've necessarily seen come and go. I think what I'm seeing happen is just overall across the board, not just at Comic-Con, but in general, we're seeing a lot more fan-based world building, right? Like, we're realizing that the really big objective for a lot of fans is to be able to step into the show that they love and become part of it. So we're seeing more and more investment into that. I think that I'm seeing less VR, for example, right? Like, there's not necessarily a technology at the moment that everyone is jumping to be one of the first to market movers to create an experience with. So that, I would say, we're seeing less of, but I feel like everything comes back around, and we'll probably see more of it as the technology evolves and gets stronger. But I think fan service is the best trend, and I think authentic experiences, and I think giving them merch that they're really excited to wear and represents them in their fandom. I think those are the trends that we only continue to see our partners invest more and more in. And our partners are fans, right? And we're gigantic fans. I'm actually wearing Comic-Con merch right now. I think the merch game in general is getting better and better everywhere that I look, meaning that, like, the quality of merch only gets stronger, right? And even merch people will pay for, right? I think the trend that, and this has nothing to do with what we're doing at Comic-Con. I want to be really, really clear. I think that the trend that I'm starting to see in the marketplace in general is that I think brands are realizing that fans are willing to pay money for experiences that happen even outside of Comic-Con, just popping up all over. I think we're seeing more ticketed experiences. And I think that's something that I hope to see happen, because it only allows for more experience, right? Like, it allows for larger experiences and more experiences throughout the year for fans to engage with. So I'm hoping to see more of that. I think that at Comic-Con last year, another trend you might have noticed that we were a part of as well is more nighttime experiences, things being open at night. I think that's great. I have for 12 years, and by the way, please correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm usually at my activations and I don't get to walk around everything else. So you might actually educate me right now on this, but I don't know if the night has as much programming for activations as it could, right? Like, I think there could be nighttime activations that could exist.
We are huge proponents of that, and like wish there was definitely more, and we get that question all the time from our readers as well.
Yeah, and so I think that's a good one. I would encourage brands to take a hard look at night. I think it's a worthy investment. And I think that and when I say that, I mean, like, it can get obviously very costly for the brands that are open during the day to have this thing open at night. They'd love to have it open for 365 days a year, right? Just to give fans what they want. But I would say that maybe there's an opportunity for other brands or other groups to come in and do something specifically at night that creates moments for that. And again, like, one of the things I also love about Comic-Con, which maybe you'll tell me I'm wrong, is the friendliness of everyone, and how it isn't all about alcohol, for example. Like, it's really about connecting with community and fans, right? Like, so
Yep.
When I say nighttime experiences, I don't mean a band and like shots everywhere and a DJ. I mean, like, literally immersive experience that connects these audiences to each other, that brings super fans and novices together. It just gives them more to do at night and more to see, because that's chunks of time that I think more could be done with from the activation part of it all. So yeah, that's a trend that I'm hoping continues and we see more development in.
I think
We would
we'd
love
all love
that.
that.
And I
Yep.
know, yeah, I know all of our readers would as well.
And not to mention all of the people who want to do them, but there's, obviously we're all fans and we have this level of things that we want to do. And so for some of us, it's like, well, we want to go get the exclusive on the show floor and then go see a few panels in the offsite. It's like third on the list, but we would love to do one. And so when we're done shopping and watching panels, we would love to go do one at night. So
Yeah.
having those at night just gives more and more people the opportunity to experience more of Comic-Con.
Yeah, I don't think it even needs to be necessarily the daytime. Like I said, I think the daytime activations are tough because they have to be operational all day. But I think that you could even do something farther away, right? Like that's the opportunity when you don't need to be right next to the convention center potentially. You could go more to an offsite and build something cool and invite people to it at night. And I guess my question back to you guys would be, are the fans doing this organically? Like, is the amount of fan meetups and opportunities to meet people, like, is there a lot of nighttime fan programming that you guys have come across?
Yeah, I mean, X Elite Productions puts on fan run parties, and those are always really popular. I mean, I don't know so much about fan meetups, but I definitely do feel like we see some smaller, like, party type things. I mean, I know you weren't involved, and I don't mean to like name drop another company, but I know Amazon last year did those after dark parties, and the lines for those were like practically as long as Hall H.
That company I believe is Little Cinema, and they do great work. And by the way, like I love I not competitive in the sense of like not wanting to talk about other great work that other agencies are doing. I think that it's great that there's other agencies doing awesome stuff in the space. Just creates more opportunity for everyone to get work. So I would agree with you. I think what Little Cinema did in partnership with Amazon last year, I thought was really cool. That was a good party. And if there's fan stuff that you guys know about, I'd love if you could share with me because I'd love to check it out.
Yeah, there's a certain number of fan things that happen all throughout the day, but there definitely are meetups and like specific fandoms will have like they'll be like meeting up at a bar or just finding a hotel lobby to hang out in somewhere nearby that they can have meet up and just do whatever. So I know that there's some that have those kinds of things.
Cool.
And if you're still in town on Sunday, you could come to our party.
Okay, I'm in.
I'll email you the details. But
I'd love
seriously, like you're welcome to stop by.
I'd love that. That'd be awesome. I appreciate that.
So I'm gonna put you on the spot now because I know that everyone has a problem picking a favorite child. Do you have a favorite offsite or activation that you've worked on at Comic-Con?
So I'm gonna flip back what we just talked about. I'm going to mention other agencies' work as my favorite because I can't pick my favorite child. And I love all the things that we are so fortunate to get to work on. And I think that they're all my favorite for different reasons, right? But I would say something really cool. Our friends over at Campfire, which is another agency who I was just talking to the other day about this. Do you guys remember Purge City?
Yes, I loved that. I'm a huge fan of the Purge anyway.
Carrie's about to go over and grab her Purge candle and bring it over.
Really?
Yeah.
It's right over there.
Yep, she's got it very, very nearby.
I didn't know them at all at the time, but when I saw that, I was like, damn, that's good. I was like, that is so on the nose what it should be. Right. And like you guys asked a really good question before. You were asking about collectibles and premium items. Like the fact that they made an experience where all you did was go in and plan for the Purge and in return get to shop for all these premium items was like the coolest thing ever. And I think
it's genius.
It's genius. And I think what I believe, like one of the other things that's great about that, I believe they even had like demonstrations happening.
They did.
Like, so
they had like a whiteout pen, like how to get blood out. Like it was amazing.
Yeah, like QVC for the Purge, like which was in the film too, right? So like I'm very I think that was incredibly intelligent and fun and hilarious. And again, like one where like if I've never seen The Purge and I walk in there and they're like, you have to plan to like kill or be killed, like go, and like I'm running around a supermarket of weapons, like that's something that I don't care who you are, there's no way that's not fun.
No, absolutely. And I actually went with my best friend who had never seen any of the movies, but I mean, it's such a general concept and they did such a good job that she just like instantly got it and was all in. So yeah, that's exactly it.
What are I don't know how much time we have to go over, but what are some of the other ones? I love hearing in general. What are some of the other ones that you guys have loved?
I mean, my all-time top favorite is still Campfire's Westworld. That one was just
Okay. You can't say all-time top favorite. I just meant like, what
I'm
do you like?
sorry. I'm sorry. I love your activations as
I'm
well.
totally,
But
I'm totally kidding. The Westworld one, totally kidding. The Westworld one, I did not get to check out, but I heard was really cool. The Campfire guys are really do some really great work, and that's cool. What about you guys?
What about you, Aaron?
I had so much fun at the Amazon one for the boys when they put you inside that store, and then like there's the car and there were like actors and we were looking for stuff, and yeah, I really liked that one.
How good is The Boys, by the way?
Man, it's
So
intense. It's
good.
like it is so good, but I can really only watch one episode at a time. Like I can't binge. I can't watch multiple episodes because it's so heavy and
Yes.
thick and viscous, and I just like one episode at a time is plenty.
I
But I
also
love it.
like I also appreciated what's this in-world series that they did about the school? I don't know why I can't remember right now off the top of my
Gen
head.
V?
Oh, yeah.
What is it
yes,
called?
Gen V.
Gen V. I really like Gen V too. I enjoyed Gen V as well. I think all the writing and everything they've done with that show is really great. Um, okay, and James?
Well, I actually am way more of an inside the con guy with panels and stuff. But over the last
Awesome.
few years, I have been able to go to more offsites. And I think probably the best one was Severance.
Oh,
Oh, that was good.
I didn't get to go to that.
Yeah, and that's one where, like you said, the trend is going to more immersive events, and that one was probably just about the most immersive you can get, I think, with actors and actual. We found out later actual props from the show were used to build their sets, and it was kind of insane. So
That's awesome.
yeah,
Very cool.
and I had just binged the show like the 2 weeks before ComiCon, so it was all fresh.
Very cool.
We have a couple of reader questions, if you don't mind.
Yeah. course.
We had a couple of folks who asked what was the first offsite that you actually did at Comic-Con?
Oh God, that's a great question. What was the first offsite that I ever did at Comic-Con? The first offsite that I ever did at Comic-Con, well, I actually trying to remember the name of it. I did a DJ booth. I guess this isn't a good story, but I built a DJ booth for like a Wired party, but that's a terrible story. I would say the first ones that we did was, do you guys remember the Gotham zip line and the Homer Dome?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was the first one I ever did.
Nice.
And that was at another agency. That was before Creative Riff started. And then when we came back as Creative Riff, the first offsite we did was actually for Scream Queens, where we did Bloody Good Sundays and had our Scream Queens going all around downtown San Diego, scaring the hell out of people and handing out bloody ice cream.
Nice.
Love it. Love that.
Yeah.
That's the other thing we enjoy. Food. Comic-Con food, especially themed food.
Yep.
Yes, absolutely. Committed Comics asked, have you ever done an activation where the cast of the stars have shown up? And what was that like?
It's awesome. FX has a good amount of talent that shows up I mean, when people do panels, they usually stop by the spaces, which is great. We've had the Walking Dead cast stop by when we did AMC. Shadows always shows up, which is awesome. But I would say anyone that can fit it into into the schedule, that's always a goal, right? Because they want to see the experience too. They're excited about it. So it's great for a couple reasons. One, it's great because building something that represents something that another group of people have worked so hard on, and to see them genuinely appreciate it, that means a lot, right? Like that means like, wow, we're doing our job. And it's also awesome because of the fan moment that it creates, right? Like again, like I can't stress enough that one of the most exciting things about Comic-Con for me as a fan is helping fans have the best experience. So knowing how much they've invested into this thing, to watch that talent come through and see them almost drop with excitement, right? Or even some of them might even go through the experience and some of the talents in there with them, right? Like stuff like that's just so cool. So yeah, great memories, great moments happen when the talent themselves show up for sure.
Absolutely. And then since you showed off that Back to the Future VHS, Nico asked, what is your favorite physical media?
My favorite physical media would be VHS tapes like this Back to the Future. I think it's something that in my as a dad that is more stuck in his house these days, and still loves my comics. I don't know why, but I'm just becoming very interested in collecting unopened, really great like VHS that represents the content that I love and grew up on and continue to love. Back to the Future is, in my opinion, the perfect film, and my favorite movie of all time. And I'm happy that it's been preserved so well. And my wife is probably sick of how often she comes downstairs and I'm watching Back to the Future because it can't come on television and I can't change the channel. So yeah, but yeah, VHS tapes I'd say are really cool, and they make really nice decorations too as you build your collection.
Absolutely. Well, Ryan, I know you can't say what you're doing, but I think it's probably safe to say that we will see you at Comic-Con this year, correct?
We will definitely be there with some really exciting opportunities for fans as we've been in the past, and can't wait to reveal everything in a couple weeks to you guys and everyone that's going to be there in attendance and everyone that will be watching from home as well.
Well, we can't wait to see what you guys have been up to.
Yep.
So before you go, Ryan, why don't you tell our readers where they can find you and your Creative Riff online?
Sure. So Ryan, RyanCoan is you can find me on LinkedIn. RCOAN1 is my Instagram. And then you can also find our website, Creative Riff, CreativeRiff.com is our company website to check out some of our work and how to contact us. And Creative Riff on Instagram is our Instagram channel as well, where we will be sharing content from Comic-Con, and you'll be able to check different things out. So definitely tune in.
Awesome. Well, we greatly appreciate your time tonight, Ryan, especially because I think it's late where you are. But thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you here in 4 weeks. So scary.
We can't wait. Thank you guys so much. And again, thank you guys for all you do for the fan community. This podcast is awesome. This blog is awesome. I've been a fan for years and just really honored to join you all and get to talk about what we all love so much.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Bye, everybody.
See ya.
Good night.
Bye.
Thank you.
And now
All
it's
right. For
time for
the news.
Or the
Which-
news.
So for the news.
There's not much to talk about.
So first up, we actually have a correction from last week. We said that the Toucan's name was Stan, and apparently someone at the Comic-Con office called him Stan, but that is not his official name. The Toucan has no name. It's just the Toucan. So the Toucan can be named whatever you want, but it has no official name. So that came straight from Comic-Con International. And there you go.
Thank
That
you
is
for letting us know that.
That is your Toucan update for the week. Yep.
We should have Toucan watch every episode now.
Yeah. Yes.
I just saw a
absolutely.
video of a baby toucan. It
Oh,
looks
yeah?
exactly, yeah. I don't know why, but it didn't occur to me that they were born with their beak that big. I thought maybe it grew over time, but no. There's your other Toucan fact for the day, for the week.
There you go. Just all the Toucan facts.
Yep.
Yes. Okay. Well, let's get into the actual news.
Real news.
Real news. First of which is that Parks and Cons did an awesome guide this week. Sean and Carmel put together so many amazing guides, whether it's your first time or your 20th. I always watch their videos. I think they're so helpful. They're such a good refresher. But this one was all about the backpack essentials to put in your backpack. We also recently updated our packing list for Comic-Con, because now is a great time to go ahead and start ordering your items, getting everything together. I know I just ordered one of those pop-up stools for this year. So yeah, if you haven't started putting together your packing list, we're Comic-Con attendees. We're over planners.
We really are.
Get on that. We really are.
Yes. We heard, I think it was today. It's been a very long day. The official announcement from Funko that they're bringing their Funkoville International Airport. This is probably very similar to what they did at C2E2. They're going to have their passport stations. They're going to have Loungefly. They're going to have Mondo. They're also going to have a Funko Fusion gaming demo. And they're going to have their personalized Funko Pop, the Pop Yourself. Pop Yourself is going to be a separate experience. You will not need to be in the lottery for, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yes.
But they have
I actually wanted to talk.
Go ahead.
Yes. I wanted to talk about this because I have seen so many people be confused today. So Funkoville is a bunch of different booths, and they're connected in that they're all part of Funkoville, but they're really all separate. So the main Funko booth, which sells the Funko Pops and the itty bitties and whatever else, the rewinds, that will require quote unquote advanced reservations. But what I truly think that means is just it'll be in the lottery, because the lottery has always required you to have a time slot. It's not just you won Funko for today. It's no, you won Funko from 2:30 to 3:30. Yeah. Whatever. So I think that's what that means. Loungefly will require no reservation. That's just walk up. Mondo will be handing out time slots for the day. So I think you basically just go to the booth, and I'm assuming they'll give you a ticket. Aaron probably knows more than I do about that. Yep. And then for the Funko Pop Yourself booth, as far as we are aware, and according to Funko, as far as they are aware, it is not reservations. It is just first come, first serve. So that might be crazy. But if you are interested in the Pop Yourself experience with the exclusive stuff, they are doing it online too. I'm just assuming that the box is different, because the box for Comic-Con says Comic-Con special packaging. How much that box means to you is up to you. If that's worth a 5-hour week to you, more power to you. So yes. Hopefully that helped answer. Yes.
Okay. So we had big news today, which was, I don't know, I guess we all thought it was going to happen, but Deadline says Marvel Studios is coming back to Hall H. And it's not official, and we don't even know what they're bringing if they are coming back, which I'll assume they are. But on the Marvel podcast recently, Kevin Feige said that the Fantastic Four will begin filming at the end of July, and then clarified that they will actually start filming the Monday after Comic-Con, the day after Comic-Con, which
it was very specific.
Very specific mention of that. So, I mean, why not start a few days early and bring the cast in for a big panel in Hall H on Saturday?
Why not?
Well, exactly. If they start filming 2 days later, they're not going to be on another set. They're all going to be free. Why even bring that up? If it's not
why even say
related?
It?
Yeah,
they're absolutely coming.
Yeah.
They're going to be there.
Yes,
I'd be shocked.
I will eat my hat if they are not there.
Wait, your Westworld hat?
Not my Westworld hat. I won't eat that hat.
A hat.
A hat.
A hat.
Okay. Kevin Feige's
so
hat.
Much stuff. They have so much stuff to promote, and Deadpool and Wolverine is opening that weekend, so they could even do a little bit of a victory lap or just a presentation of some kind. Who knows? But they have so many things coming out over the next year that they have plenty that they can promote.
Yep.
And it would be nice to get, maybe a new cleared up vision
A
for
timeline,
the future, a
timeline.
timeline. You know, it would be nice. We all know that the one that was shown in 2019 and what's happened to the world and in the world since then, and that one just isn't accurate anymore. And we understand that, but seeing a new one would be kind of nice, even if it's a short one or a vague one. It would be nice to see something new.
Yeah.
All right, moving
Okay.
on. Sorry.
No, you're good. For exclusives, the online exclusives portal will open on Monday, July 8th, and it will close on Thursday, July 18th. So for anybody who doesn't know, there will be some companies, not all, that will be in the online exclusives portal, as well as some autographs, not all. It will be, we know for sure that Mattel is part of it. I very much assume that Funko will be part of it. I very much assume that UCC Distributing will be part of it. Several of the other big booths I'm sure will be, but sometimes it's not always the same. And then probably like any Disney TV signings are always in there. Any Amazon signings are in there. So that sort of thing. But what I want to stress to everyone is when it opens on Monday, July 8th, you do not have to immediately go and enter. You don't, because
you can look. Just look. It's okay.
Yeah. It's
You don't
okay
have to
look.
you don't have to submit.
No, because here's the thing. Every single year, there are issues at the start, and they eventually work them out. But you can either have a super frustrating experience at the start, or you can wait like 3 days and have a super easy experience, or even like wait until the day before. The one thing I do recommend, though, is hop in there and make sure that you at least see the tab and your points. Because if you're like a volunteer and they didn't load it correctly on your profile, which has happened, you do want enough time to email ComicCon to let them know to have time to resolve that. But you don't have to submit immediately. You really don't.
You don't.
And also,
Really don't.
things get
add
added
stuff later.
and taken away. So, I mean,
Yes, that's true.
why make all these plans just for something to get canceled randomly and ruin a day plan? So,
Yeah. Yes.
Don't give yourself more reasons to hate tweet. Just
there are enough already. Yeah.
Yep, there are enough. So we saw another trolley this week. The Abbott Elementary trolley, which it was very mysterious there for a while. We're like, what are these wrestlers? We only saw it from afar. When we finally got close-up pictures, we realized it was for Abbott Elementary, and it was focused on the Ava Festival. There's a poster on there that mentions things: a giant swing, music, treats, ball pit, games. Now, it could be just referring to the Ava Festival that was in the show. We're hoping not. We're hoping that this is a sign that they're actually going to bring this to us, because we want the giant swing, we want the ball pit, we want the games, we want Abbott Elementary. This is
absolutely
yes.
Well, I don't even think the one in the show had a giant swing.
No,
so
it didn't. It's like it just in the gym. So
yeah,
it wasn't. This one
has to be an offsite.
Yes, yeah.
Again, and I will eat my hat.
Yes, another hat. Second, 2 hats. Keep track, folks. But it's a very funny, eye-catching trolley. If you haven't taken a look at it, it's really cute. It's very carnival.
Yes.
It's almost a little freak showish. Actually, it's a little more freak show than carnival.
Yes. Okay, well, I'm gonna switch this. Erin, I'm gonna have you go next, and then I'm gonna grab something.
Oh, of course. I want to talk about the list of, so we all know that it's 2 weeks before the convention, to the day, that they release the official schedule of all the panels. However, things have been slipping out here and there. We've been compiling all those things. We have finally published our San Diego ComicCon list of announced panels. I think there's over 50 of them now. We have all the information that we have regarding names, who's expected to appear. If we know the date, that's on there. If we know the room, that's on there. If we know the time, that's also on there. So everything that we know, we have compiled onto our site of announced panels.
And
so far.
There will be so much more. So the official schedule comes out, I don't have it in front of me, but I believe the 11th or the 14th. It will come out daily, and basically, the closer we get, the more the studios start to announce. Mm-hmm. So I would expect probably after we get through July 4th, like a flurry of activity there in the last couple days, because that's how it works every year. So
Yep. Yeah, traditionally we get some press releases that announce them just the day before, the week
Yep.
before.
yes.
But if you're curious and you want to start that spreadsheet, we've got that list for you.
Yes. Okay, so this is not so much news as just please join us. I am trying so hard to make friendship bracelets a thing this year. I don't even know if you can like read this. This
I think you've
says-
already succeeded. Like you're not
I do
trying
feel like
to
we've
make
seen
it
a lot of
thing.
people.
Like,
I'm
we're-
like, how
we've
do I
made
show
it a
this to where you
thing.
could read it?
We want
Yeah.
everybody to participate.
We
in
want
their own
everybody to
way.
participate. So join me in making friendship bracelets. Like they can say anything you want. There's no rule. Like we put together a guide. If you are like, how the heck do I do this? Give me some suggestions for what to put on them. But one thing that we've also discussed is a lot of people have asked, like, okay, if I make these, how do people know that I have them? How do we give them away? My suggestion is get a carabiner, just one of these little things. So I drop it. One of these little things, stick your bracelets on it. Maybe not even this much, like keep a couple for each day, and then just attach this to your lanyard. And then everybody can see them and can go up to you and be like, hey, you have friendship bracelets. I do too. Let's trade. So
Yeah, man, I think it's similar to what people at the Taylor Swift shows do.
Yes,
They see people with
yes.
friendship bracelets and they ask, do you want to
Yes.
trade?
Yes, absolutely. But this way, you're also not going up to like random people who have them like on your wrist when you're not totally sure. Like if you see one of these, like, it's also super easy to see this. So that is my suggestion.
Yes.
But there's also tons of other suggestions out there. Like I know somebody made like those little, whatever you call them, things for the bottom of your badge. Why am I thinking?
Yes. The badge ribbons.
Ribbons.
Like a badge
Yes,
ribbon.
that's the word. That's the word.
Yep.
So please join us. Please make friendship bracelets. We're trying super hard to make this a thing. And I love that so many of you have been making them. So thank you.
I have 50 bracelets and I want to come home with 50 different bracelets. I want
Same.
different ones.
Same. Yep. Same.
Yes.
Give us your bracelets.
Yep.
So, okay. James is like, this is not me.
He's checked out.
I was busy
Yeah.
reading something.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Back to the news.
Back to news. In panel news, outside of Marvel Hall H, which is obviously the biggest panel news, we do have 2 animated series confirmations. One of the, I believe, co-creators and one of the voice actors of Jellystone confirmed that it will be there, which is the Warner Brothers and Max animated series. It sounds like it will be getting a screening on Sunday, July 28th. And then we also found out that Common Side Effects will be there, which is, it's Adult Swim and Max. It's a half-hour comedy, hasn't premiered yet, but that will be getting a special premiere on Friday, July 26th. So, yeah. So
we got some questions.
Yeah, James, you want to read these?
Sure. From Nico, question for us is, could I wear my custom ComicCon volunteer t-shirt or will I be provided one at check-in? Do they give shirts for volunteers? I think you just get like little stickers to put on, right?
Yeah, I think they've done away. I thought I remembered them doing away with the shirts. Andy is our resident volunteer expert on the team. But as far as I remember, that most people just got the pin, because then do they give you a vest to wear while you're doing it, or the sticker that says volunteer?
Yeah, I think it depends on where you're going to be
Where you're at.
volunteering
Yeah.
as to what they give you. But the wearing your custom ComicCon volunteer t-shirt, I think depends on what's on the shirt. They may not want certain things. So just be aware that if they don't like your shirt for any reason, then you won't be able to wear it. Just be aware of that. And
I would make sure to only wear it when you're actually volunteering. You don't want anyone to think you're a volunteer when you're off duty. Or you don't want to.
Stacy in the chat says you get a pin after your first shift.
Okay.
And some departments do give you a vest. Like I said, yeah, because of depending on what you're doing, you may need it for being able to stand out from the crowd. And what you can expect for volunteering, specifically for Hall H, I'm guessing it's just line management, most likely something like that. I'm not entirely sure, but expect to probably be on your feet for a few hours and to hopefully help people and have a good time.
Yeah.
And be
So,
appreciated. You'll expect to be appreciated.
Yes,
We appreciate you.
Some folks in the comments have confirmed that yes, some departments do give you a vest, and 2, there isn't a custom volunteer shirt. So just FYI.
Thank you.
And then
Blade asked the question. My daughter's 12, so she will get in for free this year. But how do I get her approved for next year when she is 13 as a past year attendee when tickets come up for purchase?
So they have a child to junior validation period in which you basically, I believe they there's a link and you can go and fill it out. And I think maybe you put in like the barcode on the back of the badge. Maybe I'm totally off base, but I know last year it was from August to September for this year. So I would very much guess that it will be similar timing this year for next. So basically about a month after the convention, just make sure that you pay attention. And that you hop onto the ComiCon site to look for that child to junior validation period.
There you go.
All right. You want to give us the rapid fire news? Rest of the things to
Yeah.
mention?
Yeah. So we've had some other basic news. We haven't even gotten to the exclusives yet, guys.
So sorry.
Harbor Drive will once again be closing to traffic. Basically, absolutely nothing has changed from previous years if you've attended in the past. The blood drive appointments are open now, and they showed off this year's shirt, which is for Deadpool and Wolverine. And I do just have to say that there seem to be an awful lot of Deadpool and Wolverine themed things if Deadpool and Wolverine is not, in fact, at the convention. And then the shuttle schedule finally got revealed. So it never changes much from year to year, but it's always nice to see it officially. And I know tons of people have been waiting on that. So the schedule is out. You can go find that on our site. And that is rapid fire.
Let's do some offsites.
All right. I'll handle the first one. Super 7, they're going to have their usual pop-up shops that they've been doing every year. They've got 2 exciting events planned, one for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and one for Dungeons and Dragons. And so Dungeons and Dragons will be celebrating the 50th anniversary and will take over the Super 7 store with a whole space through the whole weekend, and they can look forward to exclusive toys and all that kind of stuff. And then for Turtles fans, there's going to be Mikey's Pizza pop-up event on Friday at TNT Pizza, which is on 14th Street, from 7 to close. And they will also have Super 7 exclusive items available there. So just be aware that they're going to be doing both of those things. The Super 7 store will be D&D themed, and they'll have a off-site pop-up at a pizza place for Mikey's Pizza.
Yes. Today, Rooftop Cinema announced their schedule for the week of Comic-Con. At the top, at the 4th floor rooftop of the Manchester Grand Hyatt, they show movies on the roof, and it's a really fun experience. And some years they do really themed movies around Comic-Con. Like one year, I know they did Venom, and you guys knew I had to mention that. And things that are just related to the convention. And this year, they're not really doing that. But if you find yourself with like a free night, like if you don't have preview night, you can go see La La Land, or if you want to close Sunday afternoon out by seeing Jurassic Park, which is actually related to the convention, you can do that. But one of the things that I wanted to make sure that we mentioned is that Friday night, there is no screenings, which typically that means it was bought out. In the past, Amazon has definitely used that space before for screenings, and I would not be shocked at all to find out that that is the case again this year, especially when a little something called Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power Season 2 comes out a month after the convention. So, or I mean, it may not be that. It could be like the Caped Crusader, or it could be a million other things.
There's a lot of options.
There's a lot of options, but
it is
think
curious.
There's be a screening.
Very curious.
I'm not willing to eat my hat on that one, but I definitely think there's a screening.
You're gonna run out of hats.
I know.
Blumhouse fans can sign up to go to one of 2 screenings. They're doing 2 Speak No Evil San Diego Comic-Con screenings on Friday, July 26th. You'll want to fill out the form on their website, which you can find on our website, to win a pair of tickets. It's not a first come, first served. It is a lottery, and you will be notified by email. But this is the upcoming thriller and horror film with James McAvoy, based on the Danish film of the same name. So if you want to see it a little early, go for it.
I think it looks
And I
fun.
think you have to be a member of the newsletter, right? Of the Blumhouse update.
Yes.
So make sure that you sign
Yes.
up. That you want the emails to match on both of those. So,
Yeah, so we've got the links to both in the article.
yes.
Now it's time for Carrie butchers all of these names. It is Hoyoverse. I don't know, guys. A Chinese video game developer is heading to Comic-Con for the first time, and tons of people seem super excited about this. Their open world adventure game Genshin Impact will be at a booth with a bunch of immersive experiences, but they will also be across the street from the Omni at the gallery at Omni, which is awesome because that space hasn't been utilized here in a couple years. So I think that's really great for a Tevat fashion show, which will showcase concept art as well as fan art. They'll also have swag like laser tote bags and special invitation cards. And then they've got another booth on the show floor for some of their other shows like Honkai Star Rail and Zenless Zone Zero.
They're going big.
They're going big.
Is that gallery the one that did
It's where, like,
Game of
the-
Thrones?
Yep,
Okay.
Yep. That's
All right.
exactly what I was going to say.
I'm trying to put it in my mind map.
Yeah, it's basically like directly across the street from the
Yes.
Omni. So it's weird to me that it's like the Omni Gallery, because to me
Yeah.
that's not the Omni, but maybe it is. Yesterday's, if you pre-ordered items, so any of their shirts or totes, there will be a pickup party at Nuclear Comics, which is about a 15-minute drive, but there is parking only 3 blocks away for $1 an hour. So it's not that bad. And they will have pizza while supplies last, and then a free pen for the first 200 guests. So
The
go
first
pick up
200
your
the first 200 to pick up an order, right?
yes, the
I
first
could've-
200.
You pick
Yes.
it's not just if you show up, even if you
have
haven't.
to- yes, you have to be there to like go pick up an order, but it's if you're in town on Tuesday, like get something out of the way, and then you don't have to go to the booth the rest of the week that we all know you're going to get that heart pen.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk about here
Every
in a minute.
day.
Every day.
Every day.
And then I was remiss because last week I don't think we spoke about the biggest offsite of them all,
We didn't.
the Shrek rave. And this thing looks absolutely wild, you guys. They've been doing this in other cities, and it basically is exactly what it sounds like. I don't know. Like, this is not my scene at all, but even I am like, this looks fun. But it will be at the House of Blues on Friday, July 26th. It is 18 plus, and tickets are as low as $17.50. And again, go watch the video like on our site, guys, because it looks wild. I keep calling it this year's Neopets party, so it's just not free, which Neopets was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Moving on to exclusives now.
Time.
The time. Yes.
Yep. All
Let's
right.
do this. There's a lot to talk about.
Yep. We're already an hour and a half into this. Let's
I
do
know.
this. Okay. All right. Loyal Subjects showed off their exclusives, which is basically a whole bunch of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles exclusives for $30 each. I think they all are. I think the one they showed off today is more. I think it might be 40 or 50. I actually have the price and it's not in here, so I need to go to that. As well as their secondary brand, TLS Toys, has a bunch of like Rainbow Bright and Strawberry Shortcake stuff. So again, all that information is on the site. I'm not gonna go super into detail on that.
And then we have Symbiote Studios announced a few things. They have the Transformers movie Battle Damage Dinobot Sludge plush, which is going to be $30. And they also have the My Little Pony The Great and Powerful Trixie plush, which will be $35. And those will be available at their booth. which is, if I can find it really quickly, $32.47 on the show floor.
All right, we had, I think, 3 new things from Monogram
A billion
this week.
things.
Oh my God, there's all of them. Holy moly. Okay. Okay,
But a
so
week and a day, Aaron.
yeah. Oh my God, they did just too many. Okay. So
Rapid fire.
yeah, so we've got the Minecraft anniversary set. That's going to be the bag clip set. It's a 3-piece in a beautiful box, and that's going to be $25. The Poppy Playtime, that's also a 3D foam bag clip set, also going to be $25 in a beautiful box. The Smurfs exclusive set, that one's going to have 1 bag clip, a lanyard with a really nice charm on it, and 3 enamel pins. That's limited to 300 pieces in a beautiful box. That one is also that one's gonna be $40. Then we have the Beetlejuice enamel pin lanyard set. That one is $20 at the booth. Another deluxe gift set from G.I. Joe, 3 enamel pins, lanyard, and a bag clip. That one will be $40. And the Yu-Gi-Oh! 3D foam bag clip 3-piece set, limited to 300 pieces, and that'll be $25. Also in a beautiful box.
Yes.
So
Yes,
they're
absolutely.
booth 3645 to pick up their exclusives. And they're also going to have their trading post, which I love the idea of. I know we talked about it last week. When you purchase a blind item, if you don't like it, you can swap it for one that's clipped up to their trading post. So that's going to be cool.
So Karen Hallion, who is both awesome and talented, she's lovely, will be at her usual spot of BB16 and Artist Alley, and she showed off her daily exclusive pens. Thursday will be Sassy, Friday will be Forks, Saturday will be Don't Settle, and Sunday will be No Because No. So stop by to pick those up for $15 each.
We've got a few factory things. And we're starting out with the Batman Returns Batarang scaled prop replica. These are all on sale. You can order online on their website now for shipping after the convention, or you can pick these things up at the convention at booth 2743. So the Batarang prop scaled replica. They've also got the Star Trek's Next Generation Cricket Phaser bottle opener. The Back to the Future plutonium case scaled prop replica, the Peacemaker helmet bottle opener, and you can also go on our site and enter to win any of these as well.
I love that Peacemaker bottle opener.
Yeah,
I think
it's a lot of fun. It's really good.
And they've got some awesome items coming up, so everybody stay tuned for those.
And next up, we are going to have exclusives from Toddland, and this is just the start of all of the exclusives that he is going to be coming out with. The first one will be the Great North and Bob's Burgers. They will be dropping on Thursday, June 27th at 10 a.m. And then the cutoff for pickup at the con is June 30th, and you can also get them for shipping. There's notes on the site about how you can handle all of that. And as you can see, we have things like T-shirts and pins from the Great North, and the Bob's Burgers stuff. We have well, no slide for because it just showed up very late in the day today.
Yes, but so Bob's Burgers will also be going out for pre-sale at 10 a.m. Pacific time tomorrow. There's tees, there's totes, there's pens, there's stickers, there's all the usual stuff. They will be doing a plush again this year, but they are not going to show it off until preview night of the convention to try to discourage slippers. On that same note, they are also not announcing the edition size of the pens, again, to try to discourage slippers. So we love Todd. We love what Toddland does. There's plenty of more stuff still to come. And I know everybody loves their Bob's Burgers stuff, and Great North's fun too. So make sure you get your orders in. Because if you want to pick up by the convention, I think you only have through Sunday night.
And yeah, through the 30th, that's it.
Yeah, for the teas
Yeah,
and
looking,
totes at least.
I'm scrolling the site, looking at all this stuff, and they've got so much cool stuff as usual. So, stuff that is themed for being in San Diego for Comic-Con and all of that kind of stuff that you really love. The Burger of the Day shirt, so much cool stuff.
I think next we've got jewelry brands and pop culture branded creator of jewelry, pins, and other accessories. They are coming back to San Diego Comic-Con, and they've got 3 exclusives so far. These are tattoo flash style pins, one for Wolverine, one for Deadpool, maybe you've heard of them, and one for Lady Deadpool. These will all be at their booth, which is going to be number 921, and they are priced at $10 each. They are also limited to 500 for Wolverine and Deadpool and 300 for Lady Deadpool, or excuse me, Lady Pool.
Yes, yes. And then our dear friend Val Hochberg showed off some stickers.
They're coming.
Okay. For Sherwood Forest Friends, which as you can clearly see is Robin Hood. They're super cute. We adore Val. You can pick those up at booth number N12 in small press. And she always has tons of little originals, and she's got new acrylic charms. We just love Val.
And more. She'll have a bunch more.
Yeah, she will.
Kid Robot announced their exclusives. They also opened up their pre-sale, which is back after being gone for a little while. The pre-sale started today. It'll also run tomorrow and Friday, and items will be replenished. So if something sold out today, they will be replenishing it each day. You can also purchase them at booth 2846. They've got the South Park Goth Kids minifigure 5-pack. They have the South Park Stoned Tolly art figure, psychedelic edition. A Simpsons neon signs light up pin and lanyard set, which the pins actually do light up. 50th anniversary Hello Kitty and Mimi with a heart plush. And a Hello Kitty 8-inch plush clear shell robot figure Nebula edition. Mecha inspired collectible with the plush inside of an 8-inch plastic shell, which is super sweet. And Hello Kitty 50th anniversary premium pins and lanyard set. This has a lanyard and 3 very fun enamel pins. Do you know who else turned 50 this year? Dungeons and Dragons. Dungeons and Dragons. And me. I'm also 50. Thank you. I'm as old as Hello Kitty.
I'm not old. Okay. Priscilla Wilson showed off a couple of her exclusives, including this year's Sunye figures. They will be, so there's 2 different ones. There's a wildflower Sunye, which features actual wildflowers and different ones. So each one is completely unique. That is a limited edition of 20, and they will be available for $75 each. And then she also showed off a gumball edition, which comes in a couple of different colorways, 4 different ones. Those will be $80 each, and it has like quote unquote gumballs in them, and if you shake them, it makes sound, and they're really cool. She is doing basically like kind of like an online lottery. If you want to try for a chance to purchase one of them, you need to make sure that you fill out the lottery by, I should know this, between now and July 12th at 12 p.m. Pacific time. And you can submit which one you're interested in, and if you win, you will get to go to the booth and purchase it. If you don't purchase it by the end of the day on Saturday, it'll be forfeit, and then any leftover will be available at the booth on Sunday. So I know she's trying really hard to make this as fair as possible and to make sure that these get into the hands of fans without a ton of time commitment. So we love Priscilla, and I think these are really fun.
I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
Oh, did you enter?
I did end up entering. Yes, I did.
Very nice. Very nice.
All right. Next up, we have NECA. And first off, their pre-sale has started as of today, the 26th. And for the next 2 days, they will reload all the items on their site. It goes live at 9 a.m. Pacific and is there until it sells out for the day. And then it will reload again the next day, Friday. And then that's it. And then you have to go and get it at Comic-Con. This is for shipping after the convention, not for picking up at the show. This is only for shipping. So some of the new items that they announced and are available are the Alf for President t-shirt. It'll be available up to sizes 2X, and it will be, I don't see a price.
I think it was 35-ish, if I'm remembering correctly from when I looked at it.
And then we have the 2-pack of turtles that are done in a very cool Mirage Comics early Turtles style from the original drawings of co-creators Eastman and Laird. So this is a pretty cool set. And this set will be $70. And then we have the Dinosaurs Earl Sinclair Captain Impressive exclusive 7-inch figure from the 90s series. And this will be $40. And I think that's everything that was new. Yep, that's everything that was new. So just remember that, again, tomorrow and Friday are the last 2 days to pre-order for shipping. And you can get up to 2 of anything that is on the list except for the turtles, and that you can get up to 4 of. But apparently the turtles are the most popular as expected and was the first thing to sell out.
Awesome. Sorry, guys. I was adding the price to NECA and
No,
Val's
you're
sticker. And Val, you don't have to answer my email because I see your comment in the chat. Mattel announced the last of their exclusives. If you want to change the
Yeah,
slide.
I'm coming. I got to find it. There we go.
There we go. Okay, so up first is a Hot Wheels Starship Select Royal Naboo Starship, which this is the first time that this ship has been available in their Starship Select series. That one is $30. They also have, I love this. This is a Jurassic World Jimmy Buffett figure. So if you remember in Jurassic World, like he makes a very small cameo where he's running from the dinosaurs, the pterodactyls, but he's holding on to his margarita, by God. It will be available for $30, and Jimmy Buffett, he comes standing on a margarita with like pterodactyls attacking him. But the best thing about this is the packaging looks like a margarita pitcher. I think that is pure brilliance. And the person who designed it,
yes,
I posted on Twitter like serious props to whoever came up with this packaging. And the guy who created the package replied, it was like, it was me. So
that was
job.
delightful.
Props to
That's
that
one
guy.
of the that's the reason I love Twitter. Interactions like that make Twitter just like the
yes,
best.
me too. But
The
no,
best.
it's amazing. I love it.
It's
They're
a lot
also
of
gonna
fun.
have they're gonna have a Masters of the Universe Too Bad combo set, which is based on like one of the episodes. It also comes with a double-sided mini comic for $50, and then maybe the first exclusive I've ever wanted from Mattel is they're going to have, let me preface this actually, last year Barbie comes out the week of Comic-Con. It's like the biggest movie of the year. What is there? Comic-Con for Barbie? Pray tell? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Not from Mattel anyway.
Not from anyone, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this year they are making up for it by doing a mini Mojo Dojo Casa house, which is, anyone who's seen the film, it's Ken's version of Barbie's house, for $50. And I think it's really fun. And it comes with a little mini Ken as well. And I don't know where the heck I'm going to put this thing, but I am determined to make this mine.
These can be ordered online too as well, right? But it's on the 25th. July?
So they'll be available at the booth starting on preview night. Mattel, as we mentioned earlier, will be part of the lottery. So if you want to get them at the convention, you will have to do so through the lottery. TBD, like if they'll be in the lottery for preview night. As always, like pretty much all of these booths also tend to open up to anyone with any leftover inventory around like 3 p.m. each day. And then yes, they will also be available online starting Thursday, July 25th. So in limited quantities.
Of course. Always with the limited quantities.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we mentioned yesterday's and their pre-con pickup part. Oh wait, is that more Mattel?
There's way more Mattel, but I don't know. You wanna go over all of it? It's a ton of stuff.
Oh my god. See, so much
so
has happened
sorry.
in a week that I'm like, that was like 2 weeks ago. I mean, there's a WWE, I think that's Shawn Michaels figure. There's a Street Sharks Riptor
Street Sharks
guy. Yeah, that. There's a couple of Monster High exclusives. One is Gulya. I don't remember what the other one is, and I'm not opening up the post. But that doll is going to be like incredibly hard to get. So there you go.
Yeah.
That's
I was sort of
recap.
glad that it wasn't in my wheelhouse because I do like some of the Monster High dolls. And this one I was like, I'm okay. I'm okay without this one. I'm going to be all right without it because it's going to be a bloodbath. Okay, yesterday. So we talked about their pickup party for their previously offered items. Here are some items you're only going to be able to get at their booth. We've got the first one, of course, is the much beloved heart pins, SDCC 24 exclusive pin. There will be a is it going to be one a day starting Thursday,
Yeah.
Friday, Saturday? So there'll be 4 different ones. Limited $10 each. I want to make sure people understand that, you know, if this is your goal to get these heart pins, you're going to want to go right away. They're going to cap the line. The line is definitely going to get capped right away, but then they'll be offering return tickets with a 15-minute window to come back. So
which is a shorter time frame than last year. Last year was 30.
Yes. So don't panic right away. But if you're a collector of these, I think of course you're going to want to make it your priority. And they're actually not going to reveal the other ones until the morning of. Is that correct?
Yes, that is what I've been told. We'll see if they stick to that. Yes. But supposedly, yes. Yes.
And the other 3 that they showed off are
they're Fallout inspired.
Yes, I never know if I want to exactly say what they're inspired by, but so we gotta. Yes,
we're freer on the podcast.
That's true. New California Republic. There's the Brotherhood of Steel flag, and then there is a Max flag or a Max emblem pin, which that one is kind of spooky because you look and it's like you can kind of see eyes in there, and they're kind of looking back at you. It's a little spooky, but those are all very cool, and I'm sure that's just the very tip of the iceberg of what we'll see from them too.
Yes. Absolutely. In fact, I have been told that this is not even all of their Fallout inspired pens. So if you like these, there are more to come.
So well, congratulations, and I'm sorry to Fallout fans and heart pin fans.
Yes. This has absolutely nothing to do with ComiCon. I just want to make sure that everybody knows, because I did not, that yesterday's apparently has What We Do in the Shadows inspired pens, and I saw them randomly on Twitter, and I immediately went and bought them, and was like, Erin, did you know this?
Yeah, no, and I didn't. It's a whole set. It's one of everybody. It's pretty amazing. And yes. Guillermo, he almost looks like he's a Muppet. Like he could be like he looks like a Sesame Street version of Guillermo, and it's amazing. I love it.
Yeah. So if you're a fan, go find them on yesterday's site.
Yes.
Search for Vampire. Okay. Patrick Ballesteros has a new exclusive that he showed off. Welcome to the Neighborhood, which is clearly also inspired by Into the Spider-Verse. I love this. I think this is just aesthetically like one of the prettiest pieces he's maybe ever done. It's 6x14. It will be available for $27, and it's limited to only 150 pieces, but I think it's just so fun.
As
And
usual,
then-
there's a lot of little details in there.
Yeah.
Very
All the
fun.
different Spideys.
Yep.
Yeah, so cool.
And finally, we have from Moose Toys, Mr. Beast Lab figures. The first one is a Mr. Beast Lab Fuzzy Panther vinyl figure, which is going to have unique flocked texture and is limited to 3,000 and will be $25. And the other one is the Mr. Beast Lab Alpha Panther Mutator, which is limited to 2,250. It is a 5.5-inch figure, will be $30. And the first one is a ComiCon exclusive. They're going to be at booth 301. And the second one is going to be a Comic-Con and Walmart Collector Con exclusive. So you can pick that up at the Walmart Collector Con online as well.
Yes, and they have one more item that's coming as well, with details still to be announced. Okay, so we've had tons of other exclusives over the last week or so, including Udon showed off today their annual swimsuit special, which features Shantae, but they also are doing a Bubblegum Crisis Comic-Con special, as well as bringing along Kenichi Sonoda, the manga creator, who will be on hand to do signings there. It's his first time going to the convention, I believe. So you can find all that information on the site. Super 7 started showing off their exclusives today. So if you love their reaction figures, there are plenty of those. They're also doing some fun little Super Cycle, which is like little characters on scooters based on vintage toys. But as we mentioned earlier, they will also be doing 2 different pop-ups. So make sure that, like, if there's something you're interested in, that you pay attention to where it is, because it might be at the booth, or it might be at this pop-up, or it might be at the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles pop-up. So make sure you're paying attention to that. Merton Sue's online shop will open for preview on July 1st, and actual pre-orders will launch later. And then he has shown off some more of his Bridgerton Cats pieces, including his Penelope piece. And then today he showed off a Queen Charlotte one. And then there's also some new Ted Lasso times Cats pieces. Alex Ross unveiled a bunch of different fine art pieces and prints. All of it's gorgeous. You can find all of that information on the site. There's like Spider-Man and Venom and Wolverine and the Avengers, Captain America and Iron Man. So if you are a fan of his style, you should definitely go check out this year's offerings. Little Shop of Pens showed off a new pen for Polly Pocket. It is the 35th anniversary, and it's based on like the beach version. So it's like a clamshell and it opens, and Polly is actually magnetic, so you can stick her wherever you want on it. It comes with a little jet ski. So anybody who played with Polly Pockets as a kid, which I definitely did, this is just, I think it's so creative and fun. Camilla DeErico showed off all of her exclusives, including some Hello Kitty enamel pens, some puzzles. She's also bringing series 2 of her Sailor Moon blind box enamel pen set, based on her little bees that she's famous for. It's called Sailor Buzz, if you want to be specific. All of that information is on the site. You can also find information about our panels. HRO, which is a dynamic trading card company, which I think basically means just half digital, half physical, will also be at the convention, where you can stop by to try to win sample packs and more. They will also be hosting pack battle tournaments at the convention. JYKL Day showed off a tribute to Akira Toriyama and a fun new print, which will be available for $15 for color or black and white variant for $20. Wolfgang Industries showed off some one-piece fan art that you can check out. IDW Publishing, Patrick Horvath's Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees is going to get a prequel ashcan that will be limited to 1,000 copies. That will be available for $10 at booth number 2729. Eric Arriaga has a Comic-Con exclusive comic variant cover specifically for Hall H. That will be available for Is it $25? It's $25, and it also comes with a pen and I think a sticker as well. You can find more information about that on the site. Essential Sequential showed off several of their exclusives, as well as a bunch of their artists are open for commissions now. Andy has done a fantastic job of adding all of that information to our commissions list. Someone actually added up the other day, and we have more commissions on our list now as of June 26th than we did all of last year. So
I kind of want to get it up. I kind of want it to get up to 100.
I mean,
it's
we
really
were in the
close.
90s. We were in the 90s yesterday. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's gonna happen.
We will get there. We will get there.
Yeah.
SMZ Comics showed off a ton, and I do mean a ton, of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle variant covers. So many.
Everywhere you're not going to be able to look anywhere this year without seeing a turtle.
Oh my God. Aren't you so glad that we didn't ask you to do a slide for that one, James?
So many.
A lot of turtles.
Like,
so many.
I would have to be like, let's do only 3 slides, and then it would be like, well, that's only half of the comics that they have that they did covers for. It's crazy how many they're doing.
It's insane. Yeah.
Turtle fans are feasting.
Yeah. We got to look at some of Diamond previews exclusives. These are the previews. I think there's plenty more to come because, first of all, Diamond Select Toys wasn't mentioned at all in the announcement today, and they had shown off some of their exclusives like on YouTube a couple weeks ago, and none of that was in today's. So I think there's tons more still to come, but they've got a bunch of different comics variants, as well as like a gorgeous DC Heroes Batman 1/8 scale, Superman 1/8 scale. They've got, if anybody is like me and actually loves the HBO Max Harley Quinn series, which is fantastic, and you should all watch it. They've got a Kite Man Funko Pop. They've got a really funky looking Wolverine plush that I actually kind of love. Like, he looks real funky, but he's fun. They've got a whole bunch of different things. You can go check out all that on our site.
Good job. That was the longest rapid fire exclusives ever.
I know. I don't feel like that was that rapid fire, but I tried.
You did great.
Okay. Plenty of other news all on our site. So just go read.
Yes.
Use that handy search function for finding things that you may be interested in.
I also want to ask you, I want to give everybody a tip. Okay. So yes, our site absolutely has a search bar and you can search that. But did you know that if you go into Google and you're like, I want to see like what the heck the SDCC blog said about Funko, you can type in Funko, the word site, a semicolon, sdccblog.com, press enter, and that will return only results from our site. So that also works. And that works for anything. So just
not just our site. Well, I didn't know that until I started working on the blog site. So you taught me that. So maybe you're the only one that knows it.
Maybe I'm the only one who knows. So that's why I'm like, did you guys know? Because honestly, like if I need to go find an article on our site, that's how I look. Like I don't even use our search bar.
No.
Sorry, guys. Okay. Anyway, we had a couple reader questions. Cassandra Ramirez asked, question, any thoughts on a One Piece live action panel now that the guest actor cast announcements are coming out? I think not going to happen. And here's why. Because Netflix basically only brings stuff that is coming out within the next month or so. Anything further out than that, like they just don't do promo for it. They really don't. If this was the only thing in my mind, honestly, that really makes sense, or that would have any other year, is Umbrella Academy, because it comes out just a couple weeks after the convention. But it is the final season. It is shortened, and I do not think that's coming. So honestly, I think Netflix is probably not going to be there this year. But I would be happy to be proven wrong. Courtness, this commission art list has made it easy for me to choose an artist and get in contact. Thank you. Well, that is all Andy, and he does amazing work.
Is that it? Are we done?
I think
Holy
so.
Cow.
We made it.
This is supposed to be like the second to last podcast is supposed to be this long.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, today
Carrie
felt like
said,
July. I was like, this is not okay for June 26th.
It's like a July 14th kind of news day. Like, this is not what we expect for for the end of
Yeah,
June.
this is unacceptable for June 26th.
But honestly, maybe it means that that it's gonna like,
It's going to be even for the rest of
yeah,
July, which it won't be. They'll just like, oh,
They'll
it's
just-
4th of July coming up. We're going to take a 2-week break. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, everything's going to drop again in the week before.
Oh,
Cool.
Yes.
All
we
right.
love it. We love it. We hate
We
to
do
love it.
love it,
We
but
do love
like
it.
I was not
But
expecting
it was, yeah,
this
it was
today.
a
It was
day.
a surprise.
It was a day. You know, Wednesdays are tough for me. You know, it's new comic book day, so it's my busiest day at work, and you're at work, and you know, trying to do your job too. So we did the best we could. We really did. Everybody pitched in. It was like this group effort today. Everybody
Yes,
was like
yes,
in the feed doing their stuff and
yes.
posting
And
links.
to Tom in the chat, you can send me your stuff.
Okay. So let's wrap this up.
Let's.
We have attendee of the week going.
We do. You can apply on our website. We feature a new one every Friday. Don't forget, please make friendship bracelets. We want to trade friendship bracelets with you. They can say anything. Like, they don't have to be clever. Put like SDCC 24 on like 10 of them and call it a day. We also have a Patreon. If you appreciate the work that we do, all of the money that we get goes right back into the site and doing fun things like our party. And if you are a patron, don't forget that our live hangout is tomorrow night. So come hang out with us tomorrow. Come hang out with us.
I think that's it. Thank you again to Ryan from Creative Riff for coming on. We'll be back next week with more news, more exclusives, and another special guest or two.
Dun,
Or
dun,
two.
dun.
So it should be Jermaine Lucier from IO9 coming on to talk about what movies might be at ComiCon. We love Jermaine, but he's also a super busy guy, so there's a possibility that might get moved, TBD. But I think we are also going to have our friend Tommy over from Factory Entertainment come on to talk about their offerings this year and maybe show off a couple things. So should be a fun show.
Yep. And
Are
newsletter
we
goes
gonna
out.
get to? Is he gonna bring on a Peacemaker bottle opener so we can see it in action?
I can definitely ask that
Yeah,
question.
let's
I
see
can ask
that.
Yeah. You can sign up for a newsletter, which we are also sending out weekly. The link to do that is at the bottom of our site.
So I think that's it. Thank you everyone for listening and for tuning in live tonight. Erin, where can we find more of your work on the internet?
You can find me all over socials at Bavarian Erin. Carrie, where can we find more of your work on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Carrie Dixon, but really, guys, I'm just on the blog Twitter now. James, where can we find you on the internet?
I am everywhere at Dan Regal, and you can also check out the Citizens of Lorcana podcast, where I am the co-host, and we talk about Disney's Lorcana trading card game every week. Thank you to Beth, our producer, for editing the show and doing all those slides and all the other little things that get this podcast into your ears.
We are on iTunes. If you'd like to subscribe, the links are up on the blog, or you can search for SDConCast. If you like what you've heard so far, please review us. We're also on Stitcher Radio and Spotify. The links are in the show notes. If you want to get a hold of us, send us an email at info@sdccblog.com. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/sdconblog, or tweet us at sd_comic_con. Thank you, everybody. And go
Shawarma.
I think my friendship bracelet should say something like
Go
mule
shawarma.
droppings.
You have been trying to make that a thing for so long. Stop trying to make fetch happen.